Welcome back to the channel. I finally have my new computer. I'm super excited about it. Huge shout out to my dad who actually not only provided it but put it together for me. Awesome setup. Really, maybe I'll show it off someday, but that's another topic for another day. I have missed a lot this week just in terms of new cards that came out, and it's been tough to make videos, so I've mostly been relying on a backlog of videos that I had. But we're back. I'm ready to get caught up over the next couple of days and talk about all kinds of stuff, including a new project in the works, but I can't say anything about that yet, so stay tuned if you're at all intrigued. We'll have more details on that later on. Before I jump into the video, just want to ask you guys to subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell if you want to be notified. If you don't, I kind of get it. It's annoying, but whatever. Definitely subscribe so you stay up to date with all of the latest content. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at the basically rest of the cards from Burst of Destiny that they've announced. These are all going to be mostly mediocre, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on them, but I wanted to at least cover them because a few are pretty intriguing. Without further ado, let's jump into it. The first one is Supernatural Danger Zone. This is not a danger card, by the way, unfortunately. If a non-effect monster is special summoned face up, you can target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. I guess it's okay. The first thing that comes to mind is Tenyi, like playing it with the Link 1, I guess making it to pop something. If this card in its owner's spell and trap is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon one non-effect monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You can only use each of these effects once per turn. It's cute. I suppose it does give Tenyi a bit of a little tool you could play with to go into the Link 1, but I don't think it's really doing much to advance your game state, and it's definitely skippable. Next one is Night Flight. People like this one. Not a huge fan myself, but I definitely understand the basic appeal behind it. Quick play spell. Target one face-up monster you control. Return that monster to the hand, and if you do, neither player can activate cards or the effect of cards with that name for the rest of this turn. So it's basically meant for the mirror match. It's also a decent card in general, just in the sense that it does get around some of the more common problems, that you might face. But I think Compulse does pretty much the same thing, and really the only reason you'd want to use this is like during your opponent's turn, activating something to bounce like a Stratos or one of your other monsters that triggers on a summon back to the hand. I don't think it's that great. It's fine for a filler card. It definitely would be better, I think, if it could target any monster on the field, but I would be a little bit too much, I think, if they gave it that level of power. Next one is Small World. This is a normal spell. Reveal one monster in your hand, then show one monster in your deck with its same type, attribute, level, attack, or defense, but only one of these. So I'm going to try to break this one down a little bit because it's kind of tricky with the words, and I know people on Zodiac and otherwise were having some trouble with it. Here's what this card does. You reveal a monster in your hand and a monster in your deck. You add a third monster from your deck to your hand that has exactly one thing in common with the other revealed monsters. So for example, if you were to reveal an Ash Blossom in your hand, that's a fire monster. Then you reveal a fire monster in your deck that has no stats or level or type that matches it. So for example, you reveal Ash Blossom and then you reveal, it's hard to even think of an example, Blazing Inpachi. That's a level 4. It doesn't have any of the same stats. There you go. The next thing you can do then is add a fire monster from your deck to your hand with the same, in this case it would have to be attribute. So you reveal those two and then you can add a fire monster as long as that fire monster doesn't have any of the other same characteristics. It's a little tricky. It's kind of neat because it does feel like there is potential to play it in certain things, but I'll leave that to the big brain people to come up with ways to make that work, and then we will go from there. It's neat. I don't think it's going to do too much, but it's got potential. Next one is Stained Glass of the Valiant. Probably the best card from this list of fillers, to be honest. Apply these effects based on the type of effect monsters you control. Fairy, draw 3 cards, then place 2 cards from your hand on the bottom of the deck in any order. Fiend, your opponent draws 1 card, then they discard a random card. Then, if they have any other cards in their hand, discard 1 more card of their choice. I kind of like this. Being a trap means it's relatively slow, so I don't know how effective it's actually going to be, but if you're playing something that utilizes both fairies and fiends, which it seems like it's meant for like your Sky Scourge or Dream Mirror decks, which unfortunately is going to be a hindrance right off the bat, it's definitely something worth looking at. I like the fact that you can make your opponent discard 2 cards, but it does give them a draw. Resetting the hand and getting a few extra draws with a fairy is decent. Kind of wish it was a spell. I think it'd be a lot better if it was a spell, but I guess there's some balancing issues to consider there. Next one is Cupid Pitch, level 4 synchro. This kind of continues the trend of Cupid monsters. Level 4, 1 tuner, 1 or more non-tuners. If it's synchro summon, increase or reduce its level by the level of the tuner used as material. So if you use, say, I don't know, Jet Synchron, you can either increase or decrease its level by 1. It gains attack equal to its level times 400. If this Synchro Summon card is sent to the graveyard as material, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the level of that Synchro monster that used this card as material. And if you do, add 1 level 8 or lower monster with 600 defense from your deck to your hand. I don't know what the card pool is that's 600 defense. It's neat enough. I guess there's certainly going to be something that you can look at doing with it, but I do not know of any monster of 600 defense right off the bat that are good search targets for this. So we'll say keep it on the back burner. It could be something cute at some point, but right now Cupid has not struck me as a must play. Next up, we've got Dualized Lord Gold Knight. This is a Gemini, which means it's probably terrible. Same thing with the Gemini effect. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 spell or trap with Gemini monster in its text from your deck to your hand. Then this card also becomes a machine monster and it gains 500 attack. So a warrior that Gemini summons and becomes a machine is kind of cool. It's a neat concept, but it's a Gemini, so it's inherently flawed. That other effect is decent to get a search. I think there are some decent Gemini support cards, but the fact that it's a Gemini in and of itself makes it slow, and unless we get a broken card that gives Gemini some genuine, like, really kind of not power creep support, this is another filler card, and that doesn't shock me at all. Indomitable Servant, level 2 beast monster, fire, 900 attack. During the main phase, if your opponent special summon 3 or more monsters this turn, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. It's a hard once per turn. This attack position card cannot be destroyed by battle while you control no other monsters. It's really, really, really specific for sure. I guess 3 monsters being summoned isn't the most impossible thing in the world, but more often than not, you could summon in an attack mode, and I guess it can absorb some damage, but not that much damage, and you're probably going to end up losing regardless if your opponent's summoning that much, and this is all you have to stop it. At least if it had 200 defense or something, it would be a decent card because you'd have Rekindling synergy, but as it is, it's pretty bad, and it gets a pass from me. Outstanding Dogmarin. I can't say I had this penciled in for support. A little unsettled by the artwork here. Level 1 Beast. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can activate one of these effects. Place it on the bottom of the deck, or add 1 Outstanding Dogmarin from your deck to your hand, and if you do, place this card on the top of the deck. Both of these effects are pretty bad. At least it makes it so you can't lose by deck out, so that's fine, I guess, but it's not the best card, and I don't think searching Outstanding Dogmarin makes that any better. And lastly, this might be the best one. Soldrapom Fangly, a level 1 plant fire monster tuner. If this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard by a monster effect, you can special summon this card. Then, if you control another plant monster, you can have the attack and defense of 1 monster on the field. Once per turn, if this card on the field be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send 1 plant monster from your deck to the graveyard instead. I really like this card, actually. I don't know exactly what's going to mill it. I know there's a few plant monsters that mill. I know Mathematician and things like that can mill as well. It's definitely one of those cards that feels like it has potential, being a level 1 tuner. It is an instant needle fiber effortlessly, but that's not super hard to pull off nowadays. Still worth pointing out. The typing is good, the level is good, the fact that it's a tuner is good. If anything from this reveal is actually going to be decent, this is the card to do it. Whether or not it actually sees any play, I suppose we will see, but it's got me more optimistic than any of the other ones. That's going to do it for this video. I'm really happy to be back. We're going to work through all the stuff that I haven't gotten to in the past few days over the next couple of days. Really appreciate the support, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, please let me know. Stay tuned for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.